My wife and I have been together for 2 years, married for a year this October. 2 weeks ago, I caught her cheating on me. I had caught her texting other guys previously, but forgave her and moved on. Since catching her, she's shown little to no remorse, and guards her phone and texts even though she claims she's no longer talking to anyone. In all honesty, a week after I caught her physically cheating on me, I caught her texting some other guy. I've done everything I can to try and reason with her, get her perspective, why, how she could do what she's doing to me, but it never goes anywhere. While this situation might sound cut and dry, I still love and care for her dearly. She doesn't have a support system outside of myself and my family, no one. She was living with her mom before we moved in with each other only 3 months after we met. She was emotionally and physically abusive towards my wife and had kicked her out before she came to live with me. Her stepfather, who does not live with her mother, is unable to support her or even take her in, even if she was to pay him rent. He's currently raising her brother and sister HS aged. Her mother is basically a textbook welfare queen, and loves and leaves men with her children. I more or less forced her to end pretty much all her toxic relationships. And because of that, I feel guilty for dismantling what little of a support system she actually had. And that leaves me here. I love and care for someone who has no respect for our marriage. I'll be honest, it's not all her for slacked in our relationship. I'm not perfect, but I've never cheated, abused, or hurt her. She's gotten her driver's license, a car, a stable job with regular hours she actually enjoys, stable and healthy relationships with me and my family. I am happy she is better off than she was. But I know if I just ended and we split, she would throw all that away. I've threatened divorce more times than I can count, which I know is probably the worst thing I could do. She then either physically lashes out towards me or threatens suicide. I'm tired of fighting with her. I love her and just don't want her to do what she's doing. I want to be with her, I want her to be happy and healthy. She claims to still love me, be with me, but then continues to text other guys, while barely attempting to hide. Part of me wishes the guy I caught her with was rich, and could provide her a stable, loving environment. I know that someone would and could take advantage of her. I thought maybe she's bipolar. I know I showed signs of borderline personality disorder and depression around. I was mentally and emotionally unstable. I'm just trying to think of things that might explain her behavior. Maybe she just needs a good therapist. We're living with my parents. We were planning on moving out on our own this December. My mother found out about it all and basically said I'm free to stay, but she needs to go. I can't just divorce her and kick her out. Caught my wife cheating. Won't stop texting different guys. Want to stay with her, but she won't change. She has nowhere or no one to go to. In between taking time to read most of these comments, I've already sat down with her and a third party and discussed our pending divorce. I've had the paperwork, just never confronted her with it. The third party was a close friend. She remained seemingly calm throughout it all. And everything is more or less set in motion. The third party was necessary to keep her from lashing out, and even more so for me to actually follow through. There's not much in terms of assets and no children, and we've agreed to go the uncontested route with no lawyers. To answer and or address a few comments, no, we're not Mormon. And yes, obvious mistakes were made, marriage, after a year being the most obvious. I can't really argue or defend myself when comes to the doormat analogies, as they're all pretty much spot on. Objectively, I saw it coming, red flags and all. Even now I realize I sound like a jackass asking for advice on how I should handle this situation that is pretty much cut and dry. I don't know what I was hoping to achieve by posting here. I don't know. I've had friends in the past I've lost to poor decisions they've made, and it's shitty to see someone crash and burn. The difference being I married that person, that being my personal poor decision. I knew this was going to happen, and I'm as responsible as she is for putting up with it. I'm not comfortable with term white knight. I'd much rather prefer to called a dumbass. It's like you know what to do, what makes sense, what's right, but you make excuses and roll with it, thinking things will just fix themselves. In the same way she can't explain why she cheated, I can't really explain why I want her to be okay after this is all said and done. I'm usually vengeful when it comes to people crossing me, but even now, I don't really harbor any type of hate towards her. I don't know. Thanks for the advice.